Life gives plenty of opportunity for every single one on the planet Earth. Live like there is no tomorrow. Finding the life actually starts with the fact knowing the death. So belief is a bondage and moksha is the ultimate freedom. Good evening, friends. I'm Punitha. I'm from Singapore. I'm currently doing a TOT program with Breath Energy Health Foundation. So today I'm going to do the book review of the book title, The Independent Mind by Osho. So the framework of the book is, through this book, Osho guides every reader to attain a true liberation by exploring the nature of body, mind, and the soul through the understanding of the nature of the thoughts. It also gives a lot of insights in this book to increase your awareness so that you can reach the essence of our being, which is the immortal soul. So this book basically consists of 6 chapters. We will see each chapter in detail in the upcoming slides. So the first chapter is Discovering Life. In this chapter, Osho starts with a question like, what is life? And the understanding of the life, what we are currently having, is completely wrong, he says. For example, he says, if someone thinks darkness is a light and lives for his whole life thinking that darkness is light, will he put any effort to look for what is really light is? The same thing. Only when we understand that the understanding what we are having for the life is wrong, then we really put the effort to look for what is really life is. And he says the understanding what you are having for life currently is it's just a slow and gradual process towards the death. And he also says life gives plenty of opportunity for every single one on the planet Earth. This opportunity can be used in various ways, but most of us were using it to accumulate the wealth, name, fame, and power. All these will be destroyed at the time of death, he says, and which is completely meaningless. And something which is really meaningful at the time of death is the only thing it is really meaningful. We all are having something within us which cannot be even destroyed by the death, which is our immortal soul. So, Osho asks us to put all our energy and effort on the right things, which is expanding our soul. It doesn't mean he's not asking us to quit the job and run to Himalayas and sit in the cave and meditate for long hours. No, he's not suggesting that. He says, understand what is really life is. This understanding helps you to do the same work, but with the understanding of life gives a lot of meaning towards your own life. So this will change the direction which we are currently living, which takes us to the direction of death towards the life. And he also says, live like there is no tomorrow, which means anytime the death can approach us. So many of us even don't want to hear the word death, but in this planet Earth, only that thing we can assure for sure, that everyone is going to face the death at one point of that time. Okay? And is asking us to not run away from it, because those who have the courage to face the death have the courage to find their life also. So he says, finding the life actually starts with the fact knowing the death. In the second chapter, which is the drop borrowed seeds, he talks about the 3 levels of life and the 3 states of mind. The 3 levels of mind, which is body, mind, soul, is connected towards the thoughtless state, thinking state, and no thought state. So we have a body and we have a soul. And the linking point from the body to the soul is the mind. So let's see how the mind is going to help us from the body consciousness to the soul consciousness. So Osho says, at the level of body, we all are in the thoughtless state. At the level of body, we all are completely dependent. What does it mean? Here, when he says thoughtless state means no thinking. We are not thinking at all. Even if we think, even if we raise questions, we cannot find answers. Questions like, at the physical level, like why I get thirsty, why I feel hungry, why I'm hungry, why I'm so happy, why the sun rises in the east, why the sun sets in the west. So all these questions, anything which is based on your body level or on the nature level, there is no answer. Even if you try to answer, you can keep on reasoning, but you won't end with a concrete answer. So any problems at the body level, every time we run behind the money, wealth, name, fame. So all these problems at the body level, so we always run behind it to solve it. But if we stop running towards only the body level needs, then we cannot find the immortal thing, which is the soul. So the body is a mortal, which is dependent. It's purely dependent, and it cannot be independent. So even Buddha, Jesus Christ, Mahavira, all these people, to a certain level, they are dependent. They cannot be independent. So if we all stuck at the physical level and we never move to the next level, it is not possible for us to reach the soul. So then what we all are having inside our body, which is beyond the body and which transcends the body is, of course, which is our mind. So at the level of mind also, Osho says, basically, we all are living in the thoughtless state, which is totally dependent. But with the right effort, the dependent mind can become independent mind. Okay. So the dependent mind, how it looks like always, if we start watching our own thoughts, we are got all these thoughts from outside. The day when we born, from the parents, from the society, from the neighbors, from the school, from the community, from the religious things, we got the thought. And none of the thought is our own thought. We never generated any one single thought also. Okay. So he also gives one beautiful example. If someone asks you what is love is, then what you will say? You will immediately find the definition from the scriptures you read somewhere or a beautiful quote you read in the internet. So this is how most of us will try to say. But most of the people never say from the heart what they feel what is love is. Okay. And the same thing, one more beautiful example he gave. So in the slide, you can see two pictures of the same girl, but the only difference is of lips. Okay. The girl on the right has a thinner lip, and the girl on the left has a fuller lip. So in India, the girls who have thinner lip is considered beautiful. But in Nigeria, the girls with the fuller lips are beautiful. But how the beautiful can be, if truth is the same, how the beauty is different in India and in Nigeria. And we all are like identified, like beauty means, okay, this is what my society says, this is beauty standard. So I follow that. So these type of thoughts, Osho says, which is a thoughtless state. You are not thinking. You are not thinking what is beautiful for you. Okay. So next one is, he says, thoughtless state. Thoughtless state is also again at the mind level. So we have religions around us, the faiths and beliefs. We completely believe it. We never question it. Why we never question it? Because questioning and doubting is a lot of effort. Okay. Thinking is more effort. Okay. So thinking requires more effort, but believing is very easy. They give you, you just get it and you believe and live your life. But the moment when you say why I should do that, when you raise the question, even your family members will say, oh, this is how my grandparents followed and I followed and I also expect you to follow it. Okay. But the moment when you against of it, people will, you're out of the crowd and you're alone. And that aloneness give you a lot of insecurity. Being in crowd, you feel very secure. So most of us don't want to face this pain and suffering by creating a doubt or raising the question and thinking. So that is why most of the people stuck at the thoughtless state. So once you understand this and then you stop believing all these things and drop everything, and when you start generating the thoughts on your own, this is where the independent mind comes. So you see the beauty where your mind were like dependent, and now slowly it is gradually moving to the independent state when you start thinking on your own. So, when the mind becomes independent, it is very close to the soul because the soul is also purely independent. So, with the dependent mind, we can only find the dependent body, and which can be destroyed at the time of death. But with the independent mind, we can reach the independent soul, which cannot be destroyed by the death. So belief is a bondage and moksha is the ultimate freedom, which is finding our own soul. So chapter 3, faith and belief in the freedom. Here Osho says, see, first we must understand what is the basic difference between the human and the animal. Animal does not have the ability to think, but human has the ability to think. But though he has the ability to think, he doesn't want to think. He wants to just merely follow the faiths and beliefs which has been passed on from generation to generation. So Osho says, stop believing others, instead doubt everything around you. Doubt whatever you have been taught so far. It doesn't mean he is asking you to disrespect the religion. No, he is not saying that. If something is given to you, you just experience on your own. Is it really true? Is it really acceptable to you? Then you start taking it. The understanding must come from within you, not just merely following just because someone said. It is not like that. You must have that understanding, and the understanding must come within, from inside from you. Okay. So then thinking on your own begins. This causes the mind to be very much independent, and the independent mind has the ability to find the independent soul. And once you started thinking, okay, the thinking mind activated and you have an independent mind. And the beauty of this thing is you will start seeing your own true self. What does it mean? So you see all the ugliness of yourself, and which is 90%, which is not pleasant to see it. And it is very painful to see such ugliness in you. And Osho says, when you see that ugliness, do not put any fragrance of flowers on top of it. I give you an example. A person who works under the government and he steals a lot of public funds, okay, a lot of public funds. Deep inside him, he knows that he is doing wrong. But the moment when he recognizes true self, immediately he put the nice fragrance of flowers on the top, saying that, hey, come on, I'm donating a lot also. I'm doing a lot of charity work. So I'm good now. So I don't need to worry about all these things. This is what Osho says you are covering with the nice fragrance of flowers. You should not do that. You have to see as you are in the true self. That will definitely will give lot of pain and suffering. And he says you have to go through that pain and suffering. Otherwise, you won't find a way to overcome that pain. He has given one more beautiful example. He is saying, if you have a wound and you go to the doctor, the physician will examine you all the the depth of the wound, and is there is any bacterial infection is there. He will see in all the direction. The same way you have to see yourself all the directions so that the treatment can be given very fast and very effective. If you're in the pain, you definitely, no one wants to be in the pain for a long time. You will put a lot of effort to come out as fast as possible. So, and that is the best way to do also. So, chapter 4, the awareness comes through consciousness. So, being in the thinking state but not crowd of thoughts. What does it mean? When you're in the thinking state, which means you're not having the crowd of thoughts from others, which means, for example, I can say this thing. When you have an intense problem in your life, you get answers from others, and you might have seen that your problem is not solved. Maybe a real-time example I can give you. A newlywed couple, okay, the Indian couple, let it be. So they married, and usually you guys know when they get married, usually they get a lot of friction. So this girl is under a lot of pain, and she is going and complaining to the mother, "Mom, I'm having all these problems. I don't know what I have to do now." Then the mom is giving some suggestions to this girl, okay? And this girl is go and follow that solution. And the problem is not solved, and it is even more worse than before. So the problem is belong to that girl, but the solution is given by the mother. The problem will not be solved, and it will be really worse for that girl's consciousness to expand. Her problem, she has to think on her own to resolve her own problem. Instead, she should not borrow any guidance from outside. Then we are making our consciousness to shatter. Okay. So, and one more thing Osho says, when you do the thinking process, there will be a fast movement of mind and inconsistent mind happens because you will try to find a solution. So during that process, you will come across the mind will move really super fast. And many people might say, they will tell to you, oh, the fast mind is very bad, the inconsistent mind is very bad. You have to keep slow and you have to be consistent. You should have a consistent mind. But Osho says that will weak the soul. Only the soul which is inconsistent, only the mind which is inconsistent, it is really powerful, and it is more significant in in expansion of the consciousness. And when a life put a question to you, okay, and Osho says, when a question arises in you, okay, he asks you to put all the memories so far you gathered from your society or from others, from your faith and belief, everything keep in one side and do not allow it to speak. In the silence of the memory, the consciousness will start finding the answers for your question. Okay, sometimes you will get the answers immediately, friends, but sometimes you won't get the answer immediately. I can give you an example from my own life itself. When I was a 10-year-old girl, okay, in my childhood, I lived in extended family with the cousins of 6 in my family. All my cousins study extremely good in their academic, and I'm the only one, even to pass every subject, I was struggling a lot. Then, in that 10 years old, I was asking with a lot of pain within me, why it's only for me I couldn't pass, because I'm putting a lot of effort, but I'm not getting the results. So I was in a great pain to go through that. But after 25 years later, in my 35 years old, then I understood, because when I was teaching a student who's really, because my profession is teaching, so when I handle the students with the learning difficulty, I can understand their pain and emotions very clearly. So I give them a lot of assurance and make them to do well. And the student who come to me with a fail mark, they started scoring like A star. So this, then I understood why I went through such pain in my childhood, because if I didn't go through that pain, I would not be able to understand what the pain that my students are currently going through it. So when you get this kind of answers from your consciousness, you will not doubt your answers, which will be 100% perfect answer for you. You won't even have 0.01% doubt also. So, and Osho also says when the thinking state can be activated, there are two steps it is involved. So if you follow these two steps, the thinking state of yours will be activated. First, ask your memory to be silent and live with the question patiently. Okay? It's not necessary you will be getting it immediately. Don't ask your memory to talk, or don't discuss this question with anyone. I have, I can hear tell our Pradeep Vijay sir. Usually he asks us first, if any question arise, try to find it on your own. He always suggests us not to bring it to me. First, try to understand on your own. You will get the solution on your own also. Many times in his satsang, he has said this statement. So I move to chapter 5, which is the thinking state, your center, your being, your soul. The thinking state, when you once you are in the thinking state, you are very close to the soul. Okay. And thoughts can be assimilated. What does it mean? So assimilated thoughts, or you have heard something from your scriptures, or somebody said something, and you are repeating those thoughts in your mind repeatedly for many years, and you started believing those thoughts are your own thoughts. This is called assimilated thoughts. But Osho says thoughts cannot be assimilated, because only when it is arise from you, then it is your thought. When you take the thoughts from others, it cannot be your thought. For example, if someone say, I see God in everything, because that person is keep on for his whole life is saying, I see God in everything, I see God in everything. He is repeatedly saying for nearly 10 years. And suddenly he started seeing God also in everything. But is it a delusion? Like, it's since because he said multiple times, he started seeing God. So Osho is asking us to check, if someone says like that, is he saying such statement out of the no thought state? Or is it because of the repetitive of the thoughts he keep on says in mind, and he started seeing it? And Osho says mind is very powerful and it can manifest your imagination also. Yeah. So, so first he is asking us to stop all these assimilation of thoughts, to realize and see the consciousness. Question arise in consciousness, but answer also must have to come from the consciousness only. And one person, a very interesting question, he asked Osho, Osho, what will happen just by thinking? I keep on thinking and thinking, and this caused me drown into the thoughts, and my conduct does not change. Tell me how to change my conduct. Then Osho says, when you say what will happen just by thinking, by this itself, I can understand you are not in the thinking state yet. You are in the no thought state. And when you start believing someone's thoughts, see, if someone is coming out from some ideas, which means they went through the thinking and they got their own thought, and you borrowed their thought, okay, and you are expecting you have to have that such conduct out of that borrowed thought. So Osho says, when your thoughts are not yours, how you can expect the contact also? For example, I can give you a good example. Buddha say, do not Do not lie. Okay. So not even Buddha saying, most all the religion says do not, we should not lie. Okay. But this person, he thinks, okay, my religion is saying I should not lie. I should not lie. So just because of this force, he is not lying. But due to some life circumstances, one day he started to lie very badly. And he feels very bad about his own conduct. Then because you followed not to lie just because someone said, and you just literally want to follow it, and you didn't understand why I shouldn't lie. If I say lie, what will happen? What are the things it will happen? And you didn't go through that process without understanding, just you accumulated the thoughts from others, and you are expecting the contact to come without your own thought, without your own thinking state. So it is not aligning. So the contact will not come. Only when you think, when you realize, when you understand, the contact also will come, he says. So he also suggests us to do the meditation to have a deep connection with the inner state. And the meditation technique, what Osho tells, is mostly very closely connected with our anapanasati. Okay. So, chapter 6, which is religiousness, understanding of life. Osho says man's mind is trapped with a web of thoughts. Only few people aware of this confusion of thoughts, self contradictory thoughts, and a web of thoughts conflicting with each other. Why Osho says the conflicting thoughts are very bad? Because it drains our energy. We feel so weak. With that weak state, we cannot seek the truth, which is the immortal soul. And he also suggests us to take a pen and paper and sit in a quiet place and start writing whatever is going on your mind for 1 hour honestly. Okay. We should not exclude anything which you, even the craziest thing, very bad things, if you thought also, you must write it down. And he asked us to read the same thing after 1 hour, and we will be shocked to see how the thoughts are is not connected to each other and how it is contradicting to each other. So we may conclude we might be a mad person also. So here Osho has given steps to how to reach the no thought state. Okay. So he says the aware of your conflicting thoughts. First, we must have the awareness that we are having some conflicting thoughts within us. And once you got that awareness, and you have to drop all the thoughts which you have accumulated from the society, from your parents, or whatever it is from the religion, and dropping the attachment to the thought, like I'm a Christian, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim. All these thoughts you have to drop first. And then when you are not having anything within you, then you are in the empty state. And that empty state is the state of indifference witnessing. Okay. And he says only in the no thought state, we are very close. We are with the consciousness. We are with the being, he says. And he also explains what is this indifference witnessing. So for that, he is giving an example, like he is asking us to sit in the river bank, or you can imagine you are sitting in the river bank and you just watching the water flowing in the river without any judgments. You are not saying anything like, oh, it is beautiful, it is going very nicely, it is making a beautiful sound, without any judgments. Okay, is asking you to just watch it as an observer, like during our meditation, how we watch our own breath, is asking us to witness the water which is flowing in the river. The same thing when you lie on the grass and look at the sky, the flock of birds flying in the sky, just watch that also without any judgment. Don't say it is beautiful, don't say it is black in color or white in color. Don't give any judgment, just be an observer to watch that beauty there. Then, with the constant practice and remembrance of watching with indifference, he says we can also started finding the gap between one thought to another thought. And this gap will keep increasing, and we will have only fewer thoughts. The moment when we have fewer thoughts, it will reduce to zero thought state. And only in the zero thought state, we can be with our consciousness. So, only in the no thought state, we can realize our soul. To reach the no thought state, it is necessary to be in the witness in every way. So, constant practice and remembrance of witnessing and meditation helps us to reach the no thought state. So the conclusion is, so the in the overall, Osho says we have the body, mind, and the soul. So body, which is basically dependent and which is in the thoughtless state, and even if you put any effort also, it cannot be independent. Okay. And mind, which is basically dependent, but if you put some effort, it can move from dependent to independent when you move from the thoughtless state to the thinking state. And once you move to the no thought state, which is totally independent, then we can ultimately reach our soul. And that is the true liberation. And this is the way to find our life also, friends. So, and thank you all for watching patiently my whole speech. And my sincere gratitude and thanks to Pradeep Vijay sir and the whole BEHF team and all my fellow TOT participants. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity, friends. Thank you. Okay, if you have any questions, please raise your hands, friends.
Now, my question is how
Yes.
to differentiate our thought and others' thought that is influencing us. Is there any way to differentiate our thought from others' thought?
Okay, so he usually says thoughts are mostly borrowed thoughts only. That is
Mm,
what the only in the thinking state, ma'am. Like Osho in that book says, any thought is always borrowed thoughts only. Okay, but
mm,
what he says, once you get, is not against of thoughts also. The only thing when you get some thoughts from someone, it it has to reach your inner. Okay, you have to understand completely, and when the question arises, it must come from your thinking state and you have to think about it. Don't follow just blindly. That is called thoughtless state. Once you got some thought, okay, and
mm.
you started thinking on that, and you get a clarity and you don't have any further doubt in it, then the answer also came from your consciousness. Once you got the answer from your own consciousness, he says 100% you won't have any doubt. I felt that, ma'am. I felt many times in my life. Only when it is not coming from my own consciousness, I doubt always. But the moment when it comes from your inner soul, then it is 100% perfectly fits you.
I have one
Thank you.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
I think in chapter 3, you said an
Mm,
inconsistent mind is something
mm.
which is the best for the soul, because then the expansion of consciousness is maximum when you are inconsistent in your mind, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so, all this while we understood that a mind is a bundle of thoughts. And from what you said today,
Mm.
those bundle of the basically those are borrowed thoughts, and probably uh, very few or probably 0.1% could be your own, but most of it is a borrowed thought.
Yes.
Am I right in my
Yes.
understanding till here? So here,
Um, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
okay. So here, if we are someone who keeps thinking about four things simultaneously, and when I say, I mean, this is what I understood, and that's the reason why I asked this question. I have four things running on my mind, and I'm thinking about four things. Okay. On one side,
Mm.
we say multitasking is not good. Now, multitasking, even in the mind, is not good. But this felt slightly contradictory, where you said that uh,
Okay.
uh, in a thought it expands your consciousness. So can you clarify
Yeah,
on this bit?
sure. Here, Osho says inconsistent mind, it is not multitasking mind. He never talked about multitasking inside. Inconsistent mind means you have some idea about something, okay? Maybe you're thinking about, for example, as a teacher, I'm just getting examples from my, you have a student who is struggling in learning and you have a strategy, okay? And you want to help the student to the maximum possible. So today you have one thought and tomorrow you are having a different strategy and keep on you're changing the strategy to bring up the child. Okay,
Okay,
this
so
is an
basically it's dynamism
inconsistent
you're
mind.
saying. Oh, you're saying
Yes.
dynamically you're changing with the flow. Okay, understood.
Yes, it's not multitasking. He didn't encourage multitasking. And one more beautiful thing he said, all these are only helpful for the soul level. For the when you want to know the self-knowing, you have to follow all these things. But we have to follow the memory. Memory is primarily important for physical level. But only for the knowing, only for the soul knowing, you should have to drop all the thoughts.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
for example, if you are standing on the road and if you want to go home, but that time I want to be in the thinking state, let me think and I want to go home, we cannot say. So you have to get the idea, the memory. You have to use your memory to go back to your house. And for the engineering students or any medicine students also, they have to use their whatever they learn, they stored in their mind. So these things they have to write it in the exam. So for the physical level is not talking about, is talking about the conscious level, consciousness level. So for the soul expansion, we should drop all the ideas, whatever we accumulated earlier.
Good evening, Punitha, and
Yes.
everybody. My doubt is,
Yes.
author says anywhere, is there any method to reduce
Mm.
the thoughts while sitting in
Mm.
meditation? For beginners, mainly, they are not. They have become very restless.
Mm.
So, see, we are all sitting. We know that there is a lot of benefits out of meditation, and
Yes.
we tend to get attached to that, and by practice slowly thoughts are reducing and we are able to focus more. But the newcomers, especially this uh, youth,
Mm.
college students, and students, so they are telling no, it's not unable to sit like that. Is there anywhere he says any method, anything like that, other than our Pradeep sir says anything different method is there?
There is anything this I would have told us very earlier, ma'am. That is the only way, I think. Maybe, yeah,
Okay.
definitely he might have told us because
Really?
the youngsters, they want, the instant results. Results, they are in the new generation is like that. But definitely they have to sit and do the meditation as per the age requirement.
Yeah.
And they can read some books also to have an understanding. So their expectation also will be reduced when they understand the real science behind the meditation. So this
Okay.
will make them to do not expect anything during their meditation. So I will
Okay.
say maybe you can raise this question to Pradeep Vijay sir. Even I want to know if sir is suggesting any new strategies I can also follow to my students. Thank you raising such beautiful question. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. So this book, I was connecting myself with the book, like from my childhood until to this age, I was keep on every single incident in my life is keep on, I'm connecting. And, it's like a review of my own life came through that book. Yeah. So is how come I never read Osho's book in my life for this may I wasted my life, I felt. Yeah. It's a wonderful book. Really, really wonderful book because it's just 140 pages only. You won't believe 140 pages. This 140 pages, first time I read gave different meaning. Second time I read different meaning. And third time, I'm going deep into it. And if I read one more time, definitely I will learn even more better than the earlier one. Yeah. How did you select this book? Just my consciousness asked me. That title attracted me really very much. So I just went with the flow. Yeah, it's a beautiful book, beautiful book. I love this book. Yeah. Very big thanks to Pradeep Vijay sir. Words cannot fill all my thanks to him.